This is the Coin It podcast, sponsored by CoinCosmo.com. Have fun like a collector. Think like an investor. Whether you're just a hobbyist or looking for an alternative investment with rare coins, paper money, NFTs, or art, your host, Charles Jonath, is covering it all. Now your host, Charles Jonath.
All right, we got Curt Gammer, young dealer. Curt, are you still 17 or where are we at right now?
I am 17. 6 months left till adulthood. So.
Wow, man. That's great. And I'm looking back on here and it says you started buying and selling coins from 2010. So I want to hear, I know you've heard some of the other podcasts and I always do this or origin type thing, but I want to hear exactly how you got into coins and what led you to be like, oh my God, this is what I want to do. I'm going to start buying and selling these things. Or did it happen organically? Just take us back to the beginning.
So I started collecting when I was around 6 years old. I always had this fascination with history, both world and U.S. history. And I would be glued back before the History Channel was all ancient aliens. They used to run these fantastic documentaries. And I used to sit in front of the TV for hours. And when other kids were listening to, SpongeBob or Cartoon Network, I'd watch these, documentaries and I was obsessed. Wow. And my mom recognized that. And she gave me a small collection of coins that was left to her by her uncle. And she didn't really have any interest in them and thought, well, maybe I'd enjoy it. And something in my brain, when I was holding a coin, it was a British halfpenny from 1913, a coin worth maybe $1 or $2 now, not even. But the fact that I was holding something at the time about 100 years old blew my mind. And I treasured these kind of basic world coins. And I kept them in a drawer and I presented them quite nicely. And I started checking my change. So at the lunch line at school, when I was in kindergarten and first grade, I noticed that the older pennies, the older cents had actually a wheat reverse. And I made my parents, God bless them, take me to a pawn shop where I dumped all these wheat pennies on the table. And the guy basically told me they're worth nothing. But I started buying wheat pennies from my local students, for 2 cents each, and then selling them to my grandfather for 3 cents each. So he was actually my first customer.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I threw in the buying and selling since 2010 there because, it's more of a technicality.
Funny thing is that's about the spread on the wheat pennies too. I think it's bid is 2 cents and then offers 4 cents.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was getting market price my coins even then. But
that's great.
Yeah. So my relationship with coins has always been sort of based on a business type of relationship. I can never say I had too large of a personal collection. And more just, I always had sort of a standing inventory, buying my friends, silver Roosevelt dimes and Mercury dimes for $1 and then taking them to the pawn shop and selling them for $2. Again, using my parents as a shuttle. But I probably spent more on gas getting there than I did in profit. But,
right, sure.
It wasn't really until the pandemic had started and I was more divested into the internet where I found this sort of great group of people. And prior to that, in 2019, I actually ended up winning a scholarship to the ANA Summer Seminar.
Oh, wow.
I'm actually losing.
I'm familiar with it. I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, I'm jumping around here. I went.
That's
to my
fine.
first
No, I mean, tell us about the summer seminar. How was that? What was that experience? Because I've never really talked to anyone that went to it, although I'm familiar with it.
Okay, so the summer seminar is unlike different programs they have now. It's mixed between adults and kids, but they have certain different facilities for the kids and adults. And so I was 14. The only person below 30 in my class for counterfeit detection. And so I was, in 8th grade and I was looking at Omega counterfeit $20 gold pieces and trying to develop a way, train my eye to spot them. Not like right. I was able to handle any at that time, but you understand the point. I found out about the summer seminar when I attended my first coin show when I was 9. And the dealers there were sort of impressed by my, knowledge a little bit, and they recommended that I went there, but it wasn't only it took a few years of convincing to let my parents let me go out to Colorado and learn.
Right.
So that was really neat. It was really neat. It was a big step, and I still keep in contact with a lot of the kids I met there as well.
That's so cool. That's one good thing about like your generation is like you guys are already plugged in like with the internet and everything. So it's easy to keep in contact, I think.
Oh, for sure. For sure. The amount of networking and friendships I've been able to achieve just on social media alone it's incredible. It's nothing like this ever before in history has been created.
Yeah,
and I think it's fantastic.
No, it's definitely true. So did they allow you to like with that program stuff, you were handling real coins and
yeah, real coins passing around. The instructor was Bob Campbell, who was a former president of the American Numismatic Association himself. And with him, I actually developed a little bit of a fool. I don't want to say it's a 100% accurate way, but this is pretty much the best way to detect gold dollars, type 1 gold dollars. I found out when I was 14 that most counterfeits didn't actually have the engraver's initial L for Longacre in the truncation of the neck. Most counterfeiters forgot that. So I was able to knock out probably every counterfeit during the course, which was really great. That's really cool. Catching nice. Little details
like that, right? Yeah, because some of them are probably really good, right?
Oh yeah. I still get fooled. Usually the only problem I have nowadays is with colonials. I've missed, I think, 1 or 2 colonials in the past year, and I've gotten burned. But other than that,
those are tough.
I think I'm better at detecting counterfeits than I actually am at grading, and probably that's due to that course giving me that exposure.
Interesting.
But from there, I went to the local and regional coin shows in my area, and then we all know what happened in March of 2020. Right. Everything shut down. So I was forced to go back into my room on my computer, on my phone. And I was thrown into these different social media groups with other young collectors and dealers and such. And those opportunities, I started the Gammer Coin Instagram page in April or March of last year. So it's been over a year now. I've been on Instagram as a dealer. But even before then, I was actively trading, buying and selling through my personal account. So
that's so cool. Just right over Instagram, right?
Yeah, because there was the shops were closed, coin shows were closed. It was really bad.
Yeah.
So that social media really gave me that platform to grow my business and to grow my knowledge. No, and definitely. also on Instagram was the coin shop that I had never been to or ever heard of prior to this. Witter Coin, run by Seth Chandler, and I watched him and his employees, grow and build their shop, for months prior to them announcing the Witter Coin University program in, I believe it was February of 2021.
Sounds accurate. Yeah, I mean it's relatively recent, but it's an amazing organization from what I hear. I mean, I know the guy behind it, Seth, so he's amazing. He's a really talented numismatist. So
he's phenomenal. Seriously, a master at his craft. And when he developed that program, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you just cut out for a second. You're okay.
Sorry. Yeah, my feed cut out as well. Your screen's black, but besides the point, that program, Witter Coin U, I think was the first of its kind completely dedicated towards young numismatists. Yeah. I had previous experience at the summer seminar, but like I said, there wasn't too many kids. The adult per children ratio was pretty off. Witter Coin U allowed me to be submerged with 25 other passionate young collectors and dealers from across the country.
It's cool.
It was phenomenal.
It feels more like school to you, right? Like a college or...
It was like I'd been to Disney World before, and given the chance, I'd go to Witter Coin U again, time and again. Seriously,
that's great.
The fact that they had established industry leaders that were willing to train and help and answer questions as professors, and with Seth's influence and the behind the scenes tour of his coin shop, it really allowed me to sort of. I had always entertained the idea of selling coins professionally, but my parents were always pushing me towards a more traditional career. Right. But Witter Coin U really allowed my parents and I to both accept that, hey, I can actually make turn this into my living and follow my passion. So that was a great turning point in my life for sure.
No, it can be a lucrative field, and you can make a living in it. If it depends on the direction you want to go. If you want to start at another company and then work your way up, there's that option. Or you could go into business for yourself. I think it really has both sides because there are bigger companies in the coin industry that do hire, So
for sure. I totally would have loved to work at a numismatic firm like that. But the fact that I'm from northeastern Pennsylvania and there's no real dedicated coin shops in my area. Again, the gold and silver and the pawn exchanges, things like that. And they were never really up my alley. I again, no disrespect to pawn shops, but it was never really the sort of setting I'd like to find myself in.
Well, it's a different type of company.
Oriented, 100%. And it's not something I would see myself going into as a career.
Correct.
So there was no numismatic firms really that I could travel to as a kid without his driver's license when I was 14, 15, and 16.
I know.
So yeah, exactly. So
is there a local coin shop in your area, or?
I think the closest one is about an hour and a half away.
About an hour and a half. Okay.
Which is, the commute even now is a bit long each way. It's 3 hours of driving. And
how far are you from Philly?
About an hour and 40 minutes.
About an hour and 40 minutes. Inland or? Yeah, it must be, right?
Yeah.
Inland Pennsylvania. Yeah. Like towards, like if you go out towards Allentown or where exactly?
Are you familiar with the Scranton, Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Like the office?
Yeah.
So yeah, like probably about 45 minutes away from Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Got it. Okay. Got it.
I live actually on the side of a mountain in the Poconos. So,
oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So there's no coin shops out there. I mean, you're
no, it's quite remote. I have to say.
Smaller town.
Mm-hmm. But so it was both, being isolated from physical, numismatic locations like that, definitely put me on a different path. And it's what allowed me to become an independent coin dealer. I think working for someone else would be a great route for anyone, including myself, but that's just not what fate had for me at the moment, so being basically by myself, isolated here in the mountains, allowed me to work on my personal career and personal reputation as a coin dealer. That's
incredible. And you know what, you said a very interesting thing, and it's true. Fate didn't allow that for you. And I think just because of your predicament or whatever, it's going to make you fill the role of that. You might be the potential main local coin guy there.
Yeah. And I sort of filled that shoe. So I've been driving pretty much every weekend to appraise different collections. And I do a lot of estate buyouts of coin collections, which allows me to come into the most unique and unusual coins. I kind of have a reputation for selling definitely off types and things like that.
Very cool.
Different foreign and different. I mean, the stuff that comes through my hands is just very interesting. It's not always the most expensive stuff, but it definitely is some of the most interesting.
That's very cool. So do you have a website, or are you on Google? Like, how do people find you typically in the area?
I am on Instagram, and I do advertise, the local cork boards at grocery stores.
Oh, okay.
So I have flyers printed out, things like that. Online advertising isn't something I've broken into quite yet. Right. Online marketing. I've toyed with the idea of renting out a billboard, but I need to think about the cost effectiveness of that.
Yeah. Probably Google would be a good place to start. I think you could be on like Google My Business or something like that. I think since the pandemic now, they allow you to not have a physical location anymore.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's really cool, actually. So I'll have to check that out.
You might want to look into that. But yeah,
Google My Business, they call it.
Yeah. Yeah. Believe it. In the coin world, newspaper too. I mean, there are people that have coins that still read the paper. So there's that.
Well, you need to think about the demographic that's usually sitting on these older collections. And you typically are older folks, and they do read the newspaper. So the newspaper advertisements are definitely a good idea as well.
No, for sure, man. So I want to hear more about your experience at Witter University, because how was the whole experience like, flying out there to California, going through all the courses? What were the courses like? I mean, I want to know all that stuff.
Okay, sure thing. So the experience itself was really unlike anything I'd ever experienced before. I had never been to California even, or San Francisco. So the whole setting was so unfamiliar and exciting as it was, and the generosity of the fund to send myself and my mother out on a trip across the country was really something. And so before I had even touched down in the the hotel or that they based it out of, they had a sort of ball/meeting room rented out. It was quite large, and there's a projector and different tables where everyone could sit at. So before I even entered the room, I was already enamored with my surroundings, and I instantly started seeing people, since they recruited mostly off of Instagram. This year, they sort of started advertising in coin magazines for it and other resources. So I'm excited to see a lot of kids that weren't previously on social media getting accepted this year. But I digress. A lot of actually everyone that was accepted last year had Instagram accounts, and I had pretty much known every single one of them prior to that. So it was really nice meeting my friends that I had known online for months at that time in person. So that was great. So before class was even in session, I was already having a blast. And then the moment we all got seated down and the professors made their introductions, I'm getting excited just thinking about it. But yeah, it was really something. The course was 25 kids, and I believe, well, there was Dr. Kevin Kaufman now, Mr. David McCarthy of Kagan's, Mr. Jim Stouchesike of Heritage, Seth, of course, and Mr. John Brush, and also different people that would come in and speak. It really allowed myself, who didn't have too much exposure to the industry prior to that, really gain a lot of insight on the different fields. I mean, coins, as an industry, is small relatively compared to others, but there's such a diverse host of roles and positions you could fill. There really is something for everyone, especially professionally.
Correct. So what were the courses centered around? Did you guys cover grading or? Yeah.
So US, so there was a focus on US type coins mostly. And there was different histories about the designs, different mintages, what to look for, dealer ethics, collector ethics, how to build your collection, what kind of coins to look for, regardless of your taste, solid for grade, solid for the price, how to negotiate at a coin show etiquette as well. Just a great general sort of 101 course that everyone could take something from.
That's great. So it was just one giant all-inclusive course, or did you have different classes during the day?
So it was one course, and also like specialized different trips at night. So class would end, I think it started at 8 and ended at 2 or 3 or 4. I can't remember for the life of me, but it ended, in the afternoon. And after that, we'd have time to get dinner, and we would be able to go out to dinner. San Francisco, I don't know if you're familiar, but it has a wonderful food scene, and I'm a total foodie. I love to eat. It's it's like my second biggest passion. My stomach doesn't appreciate that, but yeah, I love to eat for sure. And so the restaurants that I was able to experience and the different tourist sites was really something. And then after that period ended, there was different field trips that we could go on. So we visited the old San Francisco Mint, things like that. We would have different appointments. Actually, we'd go in pairs to Witter Coin Shop and work behind the scenes, actually, as sort of part-time employees at Witter Coin. It was really nice.
That's so cool. That's great, man. And then, so you went was it a different course the following time you went, or is it sort of the same course and then you just get a refresher?
Well, I don't really know, to be honest, since last year was the first year they had it, and I was accepted, gratefully so, this year. So I believe that there's sort of going to be a general course, and then it's going to be a larger pool of students. It's going from 25 kids from last year to 40 now.
Wow.
So yeah, they're having 25 in a general course, and then I believe 15 or so in a more advanced specialized course. I don't really know too many more details about it, but all I know is that I'm really excited and looking forward to it.
That's awesome, man. When's it going to be?
The last week of July.
Last week of July. Okay, cool. So it's coming up. You'd be right in the heart of your summer and everything.
Yeah, for sure. It was a great trip.
It's awesome, man. So what are you gravitating towards these days? Like, what do you like the most to deal in? Like, what type?
That's a great question. So a lot of, a big part of my business model are these estate buyouts and these collection buyouts.
Mm.
So really it's just whatever I happen to be buying at that time.
Right.
It can vary from, I actually have a few coins on my desk. Would you like me to show you?
Yeah, let's see them.
These I just kind of have laying around, but these kind of represent three distinct ways of purchasing coins. So the first one is this very flashy. I don't know if you're able to see it quite well.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a Solitus of Justinian the First.
Wow, nice. Byzantium.
From 527 to 565. So not too shabby for 1,500 years, right?
Yeah, not too bad for a local collection, right?
Yeah, for sure. I actually bought this coin at a local coin show.
Oh, at a show. Okay.
In the affirmation, but this came out of an old collection. So it was like the second level of consumer here.
Got it.
So this goes to show you just kind of the fresh collections in my area that you can purchase. So I bought this coin as soon as it was graded by NGC Ancients, and you have this sort of perfect surfaces of this very fine style coin. You have Justinian with the cross of Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I like the new ancient holders for NGC. Now they're giving you
I love them.
All the details on there, like
a full attribution. So you have the country. This is of the Byzantine Empire. Justinian the First, the ruler. When he ruled, since these coins are mostly undated, obverse facing bust, the reverse angel. That's this guy here, and he's holding the cross, and also a Byzantine standard. Konob, which is Constantinople mint mark, basically.
It's cool. They put the strike quality on there too. The strike quality, conservation method. Yes. I mean, they got really detailed. 100%.
So this is a choice MS with a 5 out of 5 strike and a 4 out of 5 surface. Look at that contrast here. You can even see it in that pic. This collection, 4 out of 5s
are really 4 out of 5s, and the 5 out of 5s are great coins. When you really get to see the whole strike. Nice on the ancient.
For sure. I actually prefer a high strike rather than a high surface grade because it used to be a really choice coin. This is still a complete choice MS gem, but a 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5 in this style would probably reach about $20,000 to $22,000 in an auction setting, where I'm only asking about $13,500 for this piece. So there are definitely better arbitrage opportunities in your lower surface grade coins.
Right.
This coin is actually something I purchased out of a local collection and got this graded myself. This is
nice.
Finest known for the date. And I think there's 162 in another year, 1681, but I would much rather a 58 than a 62. This is a 1683 sixpence of Charles II. And I love the surface condition. Isn't that super flashy?
Yeah. Very cool.
That just goes to show you. And from northeastern Pennsylvania, I have no idea how this coin made it to my backyard, but here it is.
Who knows? It was probably there from God only knows.
Yeah, it could have come over at any time, which I absolutely love about it.
Right.
During 1683, Pennsylvania was actually quite literally the frontier. Beyond the frontier.
Exactly.
So this comes to a time where I lived used to be pretty much the Wild West.
That's the cool thing about being on the East Coast. You have all that. You have a long-standing history there.
100%.
Great for coins. And going into the South, I mean, you guys are in like the heart of where the local coin, the great, collection probably are sitting.
Yeah. This is where the history happened, really.
Right.
So that's not to disparage the West at all. I mean, you still have phenomenal
Oh, we
history.
have different stuff. Yeah, different.
Mm-hmm. This is actually a coin I purchased off of Instagram.
Oh, nice.
So this kind of shows you the variety of ways I purchased coins. So not only are these coins varied in both design, type, dates, but they're also varied in the ways I acquired these pieces. You have coin show, personal collection buyout, and Instagram. And that just goes to show you that choice pieces are everywhere, and you just kind of need to know where to look for them.
Yeah, exactly. And know what you can do with that particular coin. That's what it's all about. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
The opportunities that can come from anywhere, from other dealers. They could come from collectors, Instagram, local collections. It doesn't really matter. I mean, a coin, like as long as you know what to do with that coin and you have, you can make a spread on it, you're in the game, 100%.
Right? Yeah, that's basically the essentials to it.
Nice. So what type personally do you like? Is there like one thing you're like, oh my God, if I ever had to build a collection myself, this is what I would build?
That's a really hard question.
Yeah, it's tough.
And it's something I think about often. And it's a conversation I have both with my colleagues and my friends all the time is what series do I like the most? Because again, I basically, you have to, chase attractive coins for cheap prices when you are a dealer like this,
right?
Not so much a collector building it for yourself. But I would say if I were to ever retire and sit in my study and have a tray of coins out, I would love, are you familiar with the classic head type series of gold coinage? 1834 to 1839, beautiful designs, sort of that milled coinage look that you get from the Liberty head. But it's that kind of Jacksonian twist on a classic design that gets me so excited. And another feature of that series is that they actually come in 4 different mints. You have the Philadelphia Mint, Charlotte, and Delagana,
right,
as well as the New Orleans Mint. So a lot of
towards
variation
the end there, right?
For sure.
I like the 5s in that series.
The 5s and the quarters are both incredible. So quarter eagles. I like the 5s as well more personally because I always like I always prefer larger coins over smaller ones. That's just my personal preference.
A lot of people think that scale is, they're like, oh, it's not a big deal, but I think it is. I don't know, something about, especially when you talk to the collectors, like I know my clients, like the people that are getting into coins and start trying to build collections, when they see the scale in their hand, you know what I mean? Like sometimes it's hard for them. They don't want to spend a lot of money on something very small. It's just
no. I understand that
in the brain.
No, I understand that. Smaller coins, miners, as we call them in world coins, fractionals, fractionals off of the main denomination, offer an opportunity to get lower mintage coins in better surface condition for cheaper because the crown sizes typically always sell for more. But miners provide a great value, whereas to me, a larger surface area of planchet is more impressive to me when the planchet is in good condition. So, I mean, okay, so you have a look at more proof Morgan dollars versus proof, Barber dimes or seeded dimes. It's much harder to find a really great color proof Morgan than it is a proof seeded dime. And prices reflect that because it's harder to keep a large crown size coin free of hairlines and free of rim dings and marks and other things. Whereas a tiny coin, you can kind of slip it into an envelope and forget about it.
Right.
Although that is a generalization, you kind of understand the point.
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, the scales, because a lot of those bigger coins, people, it's $1, that it was money back then. Like people wanted to spend them. They'd not just stick them in a drawer somewhere and keep it. Hi, Curt actually cut out on us. I think he's having some technical difficulties, but we'll be back up shortly. Thanks.
Sorry, there's a windstorm in my area.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I actually had to go outside and try to mess with the power box, and I think I got my power back on.
Oh, so, nice. All right.
It's ridiculous. I literally live on the side of a mountain. When I tell you that, I'm not joking.
No, I am too. Like here in the desert, like it's crazy. Sometimes when the wind really kicks up, it's bad. Totally. Howling and everything. All my outdoor furniture goes flying around.
Yeah, and there's a ton of trees in my backyard. So when it gets really bad, the tree will fall down. We have to pray that it doesn't hit the house.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, one time a tree fell out on our deck. So that was a great summer project to rebuild that.
That's great. Right.
Yeah.
I'm not cut exactly it in small pieces.
Hands-on kind of guy. So can you imagine me trying to rebuild a deck?
Oh, man.
It was not good.
Well, it's good experience, though, I think. Yeah. I mean, I had to do stuff like that, too,
sure.
Putting up drywall and all kinds of things.
Oh, but yeah.
You'll learn one day when you have your own house, it never ends. There's always a project around. So learn that stuff from now because you're going to need it later.
I totally bet. Yeah. Oh God, home repairs. Jeez Louise.
I know, right?
Hopefully I don't have to worry too much about that anytime soon.
Yeah, buy new.
Yeah. Oh God, for sure. Unless I like, watching home development TV, I guess, right?
Well, some people are super into that stuff,
Yeah, like house flipping and things like that.
That's
Anyway,
not me,
I'm really
right?
sorry
And
about
probably
that.
not you. So
Yeah,
no, you
right.
were talking about the dies, right?
Yeah, well, not so much the dies as it is to me personally. A well surviving crown sized example of coin is far more impressive than a
Yeah, yeah.
minor, because minors were so often saved. Or although on the other hand, you have when it comes to gold, especially. You have the
Oh
the
yeah.
fractional issues like the quarter eagle and the gold dollar changing hands much more than you would say a $20 lib, or
Yeah,
going
yeah.
into the Spanish colonial market, 8 escudos versus 1 escudos or 2 escudo doubloons. They circulated much more frequently, as did the crown sized pieces. So it's kind of
That's how
tit
people
for
got
tat.
paid. You know what I mean? Like when you were working mining for gold, like they were paying in that small denominator. A lot of times, fractional, was the very common.
They were the workhorse, is what
Right.
I like to describe them as. So yeah, so there really is something for everyone. I mean, I could see both having great, sorry, forgive me. I can definitely see both having a positives and negative, pros and cons. But to
Yeah,
me
it's
personally, I like
subjective. It
crown
depends
size
on
example.
what you can appreciate. Like I don't know. For me, like the
Exactly,
older proofs, I love the older proofs because those
for
were
sure.
coins collected by collectors back then, which is impressive
hmm
to me.
hmm And then you also have, the argument for business strikes would be it's kind of for a lot of dates, especially in the U.S. series, it's harder to find a an
Preserved one.
uncirculated
Yeah.
gemmy business strike as opposed to the proof of that year.
Very true. Yeah, very true. Like especially those high mint state ones. It's
hmm
incredible.
hmm
Someone kept that all those years. When you
Yeah,
see
it's
it
so
in
cool.
those 67s and stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I
crazy,
mean,
right?
I guess like when we go into the mid 19th century to the late 19th century, the only coins readily available are the Morgans in 67, 67 plus that can be had for a couple grand in most cases. But to find a nice, like, are there barbers graded in the 7 plus? I've seen proof 7 barber halves.
Yeah.
I don't know. They just don't really see them,
No.
because they circulated. Again, they were kind of, I mean, Morgans were kept in bags and locked away in vaults for decades, where barbers were released
Yeah.
into circulation and heavily spent. It's
Mhm.
hard to come across a real gem barber, half or quarter, or even a dime.
Yeah, yeah. The quarters are real nice. I think I had a quarter in 67. 1870s. I don't remember the exact year. It was seated quarter.
See it? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
sick.
That
I
was
love
cool.
that. I actually just won at auction a really stunning proof 68 1876 seated quarter with this beautiful rainbow iridescent toning.
Really?
So I get that back from the auction house. I'll be listing that for sale on my Instagram and other social media. So
Nice. So you're buying coins out of auction too. Smart.
well,
How do you feel about that? Do you feel like you could still find deals, right? Or
well, that's
it's getting
that's the thing,
harder,
Charles.
right?
It's really hard. I mean, even in the foreign market where you'd think some coins would slip by, it's really hard to find good value at auction these days because every choice coin is selling for a record price. For
Yeah.
that Proof 68, I had to shell out, 7 grand more than what the last sales comp for that coin was, because that's just the way the market goes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have
It's
to pay
true.
out if you want quality at auction these days.
I know. I mean, I'm able to do it as long as people are still paying me more. So
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. So, it's not like, I mean, personally as an investor, I don't know if I would personally, pay a record price for anything. But
it's hard to
you know,
say. It's like coming from having experience in finance and stuff like that. It's very difficult psychology for people to buy into a rallying market because you're like, oh, where are we going to be here? How much higher can we go? But usually
exactly.
the
It's
case
like,
is
when is the
a
trend
lot
going to
higher,
stop?
right? Like when you're in the trend of something, it's good to stay with the trend. There's an old saying, it says the trend is your friend until it bends.
Yeah, exactly. The trend. I've never heard that, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's very true. The trend is your friend. Yeah, that's great.
I think
for sure.
the main thing is to just stay with great quality coin. Like as long as you're in you have really good quality, I think you're going to be okay and you'll be able to.
Exactly. That's the thing. So, you know, my biggest advice to the investor, to the collector, to the dealer is stick with quality choice pieces.
Yes.
I mean, there's something of those 3 coins I showed you just now. There's one thing in common, and that's that they're all super PQ, super excellent choice examples for their grades, for their types, and for that price market.
Right.
So, I mean, as long as you're getting, good value stays a good value in any price point at any market, you know? So stick to well proportioned, high eye appeal, attractive coins with also mass appeal, and you're never going to go wrong. That's my opinion. I mean, obviously I don't have as many years in this business as pretty much everyone else. I'm pretty green, but
you're working
I found that to be true in my short time here so far.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's a valuable lesson you learned early on, because it's going to service you well. I think you're going to benefit from, you're doing all the right things, because you're going taking the ANA course was great, first of all. And then, you know, going to coin shows, talking to older dealers, really listening, taking in the right information, then going to Witter U on top of it. I mean, you're going to have the benefit of having a lot of people with the experience to guide you, you know, and then
100%.
save you from making most of the mistakes we all had to make early on, you know?
I would not be here without an entire, you know, they say like it takes a village to raise, you know, there's an entire army behind me of mentors and people who have helped me along the way. Every time I stand, you know, I've been setting up at the same coin shows I used to frequent as an 8, 9, 10-year-old. And it's kind of like reaching full circle, because now when little kids come up to my booth at a coin show, I make sure to give them something. You know, I always have a small bucket of, you know, foreign or cheapo coins so I can kind of give to a kid or a new collector to try to spark that same interest that hooked me when I was just 6 years old. It really is a circle, and I really am so proud to be, you know, continuing my journey through this hobby and through this industry.
That's awesome, man. That's great stuff to hear. So are you, I wanted to ask you too about like foreign stuff. Are you dealing in that at all, or are you just primarily focused on US?
Oh, no, not at all. So I'm kind of priced out of most of my, you know, my better, you know, my tastes in US numismatics. I mean, it's pretty hard, you know, before I mentioned my enthusiasm for, you know, classic head type gold coins. Well, the thing is, I always look for good value when buying for my inventory, for buying for my, you know, customers and clients. You know, Sardinian or, you know, other European coins of the same weight or similar weight standards, you know, in the, I'm laughing because I'm thinking about how undervalued some European gold coins are from the same time period. You can get a choice AU 20 franc from Napoleon.
Yeah, it's bullion,
Napoleon Bonaparte, the greatest military leader of all time, for, you know, a couple grand. Versus if that was a U.S. coin with a similar U.S. Leader on it, contemporary, I mean, it would be into the tens of thousands of dollars. Think about what Liberty Head half eagles sell for, Turban Head half eagles and quarter eagles sell for, where you could get a contemporary European piece for a fraction of the cost. So I actually have sort of made my way, in, especially the foreign market rather than U.S., because I always look out for a good value.
You know what it is, Curt? And, you know, I'm curious to get your opinion on this. I just think that the U.S. is it's more of a supported market in the sense it has more tools, more collector history, more resources behind. I mean, I don't think it seems like foreign has bits and pieces of everything, but there's no one real central location where you could find it all together. And then
the infrastructure,
price guides.
I like how you put that. The infrastructure for foreign numismatics
is not there, right?
It's not there yet, as I like to say it, because I think that, you know, people will come and pave the way for sort of a standardized market for foreign coins.
I really hope so.
I believe that the grading service is opening up branch offices in Europe and in China, Hong Kong, has definitely made that first step into commodifying
That's
the foreign market.
smart. I mean, NGC really should, that's their competitive edge, I think. I think they should really get involved in that and build that up, start doing price guides for all this stuff, like better, updating it. I mean,
there's some I'm not going to say any names, but there's a prominent 3-letter price guide for foreign coins that desperately needs to be updated.
Right.
Because in this fast-paced market, the prices are either way too high or way too low. So
right.
If we can get some serious price guides, I mean, also we can't just look at all foreign coins, because that's, hundreds of or thousands of countries, even over a span of thousands of years. Right. I mean, it's a behemoth to try to codify and get that into a sort of a standardized market. Where if we set our sights sort of, okay, let's start cataloging coins after 1800 or after 1750, milled coinage from a few major nations that we can kind of track down varieties. And those steps are already being taken. And
or countries really where there's a lot of action, I think, too, like France, Italy, China, obviously.
Sorry, what was that?
Countries where there's a lot of action already, like Chinese coins,
for sure.
German coins.
And I mean, look at obviously the gray sheet, sort of the dealer price guide, right, has expanded to foreign coins. But the thing is, they're not biting off more than they can chew. They're focusing on, I think right now they're on Canada and China, and they're just kind of focusing on that right now. You have the yellow sheet, or the red sheet they call it, for China, and then they don't have I don't know if they have a color for Canada yet, but they're addendums to their normal gray sheet. And that standardization, as long as you don't take the whole problem on head first and sort of start breaking it down into different countries and date ranges, we can definitely get onto that sort of commodified level the U.S. market is on.
Yeah, I'd love to see that, man. I'd love to see a lot of these subsets, these types of coins that people collect, like get more support, get more infrastructure behind it. Like ancients is another thing. Imagine having a coin fax for ancients.
Well, that's the thing. So ancients are a completely different beast. I mean, ancients and foreign and U.S. coins, I believe they're two different animals, almost as if they were a different hobby.
Yes.
Ancient coins are more comparable, honestly, to the current art market than they are numismatics. That's how far off the charts, because you could have just that Justinian the First Solitus I showed off earlier. You could have that. There's so many more variables to ancients, like the fineness of style. So you can have the same type, but if the dyes are the engraver paid more attention to the dyes and made a more fineness of detail and centering when striking, that can completely alter the market price for a coin. Surface conditions strike as well. There's also so many.
Well, imagine they were all hand struck.
Exactly, they're all handmade and handcrafted. They truly are pieces of art, rather than sort of the machine made. U.S. and their contemporary foreign coins, their counterparts. So it's much harder to standardize the ancient market, I believe, than your sort of 1800 to modern day foreign coins. And I don't think there'll ever be really a great standardized way to price an ancient coin. The best way I can find out how to buy and sell my ancients I go through auction records for the same type and try to measure, okay, well, my coin is much nicer, or this coin's much nicer than mine, and sort of go from there.
By eye.
With using. Sorry, what was that?
By eye.
Yeah, exactly.
That's, well, you know what, man, this is it's very cool to see. I'm very impressed with not only your knowledge of coins, your passion for coins, but also you have a broad range of I think you have a really good understanding of the industry, which is very cool.
Well, I wouldn't go as far to say that, but I definitely I've been lucky to be exposed to so much at such a young age. And I believe that through the years, you called it a passion. My parents would like to call it an obsession rather, but, but yeah, my passion for numismatics and also the people around it. I mean, it's not so much the coins I'm so attracted to. It's the people, and it's the support system that has always been there for me, and the sort of the camaraderie and fraternity that I find in coins that is really priceless. And I don't really think that exists in any other hobby.
Yeah. Well, I'm proud of our community, man. That just hearing your experience,
should be.
It's really
phenomenal.
That's great, man. So like, how do we find you online? Is there something specific, like if people want to reach out to you, or is it just your Instagram, or just tell us?
Okay.
Whatever.
So my Instagram handle is at GammerCoin, GAMMERCOIN. My phone number is 570-578-4050. Call me anytime. I'm always on call. If you have a question about a coin or a question about a collection, my email is cjgammer@gmail.com. Feel free to reach out at any time, shoot off some questions, or to inquire about a coin that you're looking to sell or buy. Please reach out.
That's awesome, man. That's great. Well, Curt, it was a pleasure, man. It was awesome talking
Charles,
to you.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I hope to see you in person sometime soon. I don't know. I'm going to be in.
Sure.
I don't know how active you are going to be in shows. I'll be at Fun in July if you're going to be there.
I'll have a table at Fun.
Okay, so cool. Well, I'll see you there then.
We'll be able to meet, maybe have an update video.
Yeah, no, definitely. We'll go grab a cup of coffee or something.
For sure. All right, man. Thank you, Charles.
Take care out there. Be good, huh?
Thank you. You too. Bye, everyone.
Later.